It's a lovely Friday morning right here in Makodi, the Benue State capital. Hello and welcome to Benue Television News at 9. I am Susan Atchin. The headlines: election exercise for design of Benue logo and coat of arms commences. Labour denies claims on minimum wage agreement by federal government. The International in South Africa reports second monkeypox death. Benue State is yet to have a symbol of cultural identity. A selection exercise for the design of Benue logo, coat of arms and anthem kicks off. The six-man selection committee comprising government officials headed by the Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Mr. Matthew Abo, Thursday assured the contestants a free and fair selection process. The event, which takes place at the hall of Benue State Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism, Makodi, has 50 contestants, had 50 contestants on day one. Correspondent Matthew Kulona was there and brings us this report.
This signifies a new dawn in Benue, as can be seen in the zeal in Benue indigenes who are here in their numbers to display talents for the design of Benue logo, anthem and the coat of arms. The Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Matthew Abo, promises the contestants of a free and fair process for the selection of the best contestants who will meet the requirements that will truly show Benue identity.
I want to actually thank you for your patriotism. We have invited you and you have left everything and come so that you showcase your talent. We are going to do this very free and fair. We are going to get something here that will be universally accepted by Benue people and Nigeria at large.
The contestants make presentations of different designs for the contest.
We are blessed. We are the full basket. We are the best. We are peaceful, accommodating, courageous, and productive.
Our father's land, walking together in peace. Unity is our motto.
The flag, as we can all see, signifies the fertility of Benue State, fertility of the soil of Benue State. The white signifies the peace.
The six-man selection team spell out qualification requirements which include melody, memorability, emotional impact, and cultural representation. According to the Information Commissioner, the exercise will continue Friday with the winner to be announced for the governor's assent. Matthew Ikulono, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
Benue State government has received palliatives from the federal government for vulnerable citizens. This symbolic handover presentation was done Thursday at the Aparico Stadium in Makodi, and Fidelia Zashaunda brings us this report.
Different vulnerable groups are gathered here at Aparico Stadium in anticipation to the handover and distribution of palliatives to the Benue State government. Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by his principal private secretary, Dr. Emmanuel Chengi, tasked beneficiaries of massive famine to fill the nation as the food basket of the nation. He acknowledges the sustained support of the federal government in attending to the needs of victims of attacks by armed men that has resulted to untold hardships.
What we are doing here, especially for the press, is a symbolic handover. There is more that has been stored that is behind us here. It's such that all the 23 local government chairmen are here. Since they are going to be the end users, that will ensure that these grants you have donated to the state reach the most vulnerable in their communities. The government of Alia wants to ensure that when food insecurity is mentioned, Benue is not mentioned. And it's working assiduously to ensure that Benue feels not just Nigeria, but Benue feels the nation and Africa as a whole.
The Zonal Director, National Emergency Management Agency NEMA North Central, Bashir Garba, while presenting the item, says there is need for the palliatives to come to Benue to cushion the current economic hardship in the country.
It is worthy of note that based on the allocation table, Benue State has been allocated 897 metric tons of maize, which translates to 17,940 bags of 50 kg. Then we have 108 metric tons of gari, which translates to 4,324 bags of 25 kg.
The National Emergency Management Agency is quite aware of food being consumed by the various communities in Nigeria. And so it's going to be absorbed when you carry commodities that is not palatable with the people of a particular state. That may not go well.
The Executive Secretary, Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, James Yopu, called on the local government council chairman to ensure fair sharing of the items.
This initiative, spearheaded by NEMA, is a testimony to the federal government commitment to ensuring food security and providing support to communities in need, particularly in Benue State. The President here today underscores the collective efforts and solidarity to support His Excellency, the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Umelia.
Algon chairman, on behalf of all the local government chairmen, Philip Achua, promises fair sharing at all the local government areas.
We are happy from the side of the council chairman. We assure you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Executive Governor of Benue State and the Executive Secretary of SEMA that the distribution will not and shall not be abused. It will go straight to those who have need for this and to those who must need them for their survival.
Items received are 17,940 bags of 50 kg maize and 4,324 bags of gari in 25 kg bags. Fidelia Zashandu, Benue Television News, Makudi.
Well, democracy got due recognition yesterday from President Bola Tinubu. He hosted them to a state banquet after paying them tributes in his Democracy Day broadcast. The president reviewed a full military parade to hallmark the day at the iconic Eagle Square in Abuja. He led eminent Nigerians to the event, which also commemorated the country's 25th Democracy Day anniversary. Former President Muhammadu Buhari declared June 12 Democracy Day to commemorate the 1993 presidential election won by business mogul Moshood Abiola, who was denied the fruit of his victory by the then military government of General Ibrahim Babangida. The election was annulled and democratic structures were erased to terminate the burgeoning Third Republic. Abiola, who declared himself president in the heat of the struggle for his mandate, was arrested, put on trial for treason. He eventually died in the custody of the military government in 1998. The country never witnessed democracy until 1999, when the Fourth Republic commenced. May 29 made it 25 years of unbroken civil rule since independence in 1960, the longest, but celebrations were put forward to yesterday. Those President Tinubu named in his broadcast are Chief Anthony Enahoro, Chief Abraham Adesonia, Commodore Dan Suleiman, Chief Arthur Nwanko, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezefe, Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, Chief Frank Okori, Chief Bolaigi, Chief Adekunle Ajasin, Chief Ganiyu Dawudu, Chief Ayo Fasomi, Chief Gani Faremi, Chief Olabi Durojaye, Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, Chima Ubani, and others who have transited to the higher realm. He recognized the sacrifices of General Alani Akinrinade, Professor Bolaji Akiniemi, Professor Wole Soyinka, Chief Ralph Obioha, and Chief Cornelius Adebayo, saying for at least 6 years they bore the pains and difficulties of life in exile. The president said while the exiled pro-democracy activists kept the fire burning, their comrades at home sustained the pressure on the military brass hats. The highlights of this year's anniversary included the various military drills performed by the armed forces and the police, a special drill by the Brigade of Guards displayed by mass bands and cultural troops, and the unveiling of the world's largest canvas painting portrait of President Tinubu. In part two, after the break, the organized labor has rejected President Bola Tinubu's claims that an agreement had been reached on a new national minimum wages in his nationwide broadcast to mark Democracy Day. We'll bring you this and much more after this break. To join us again.
Benway Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's that time of the year for fashion designers, entrepreneurs, and fashion enthusiasts to shine.
This year, sale of forms for the competition begins from 15th April to 30th June 2024.
Pick a form at Benway Television, located at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makudi. Form costs 5,000 Naira only.
Stage 1 screening begins on the 6th of July 2024. Great prizes await you.
The first prize, 1 million Naira. Second prize, 500,000 Naira. And third prize, 300,000 Naira. All prizes are inclusive of cash and fashion tools. Also, consolation prizes and gift items.
For sponsorship, partnership and inquiries, please call Benway TV Marketing on 0906 188 9838 or 0703 794 5569.
Benway Fashion Show,
embracing fusion fashion.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Benway Television News at 9. Well, the organized labor has rejected President Bola Tinubu's claims that an agreement had been reached on new national minimum wages in its nationwide broadcast to mark Democracy Day. According to labor, as at the time negotiations ended on June 7th, there was no agreement reached by the tripartite committee on the national minimum wage. Rather, two figures, such as 250,000 Naira from labor and 62,000 Naira from government and organized private sector OPS, were arrived at and ought to have been submitted to the president. Meanwhile, the federal government has urged labor to be realistic in their demand for a new minimum wage for workers, saying that the relief Nigerians were expecting would not come only in the form of an increase in wages, but from all the packages lined up by the government. In a statement by Nigeria Labour Congress NLC acting President Prince Adewale Adeyanju, Labour noted that anything to the contrary was not only doctored but wouldn't be accepted by Labour. Reacting to the President's speech, Adeyanju said the NLC attentively listening to the Democracy Day presidential address delivered by Senator Bola Tinubu, especially concerning the ongoing national minimum wage negotiations. While the President may have accurately recounted parts of the democratic journey's history, it is evident that he has been misinformed regarding the outcome of the wage negotiation process. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) has alerted an increase in cholera cases nationwide, with 30 deaths, 1,141 suspected cases, and 65 confirmed cases reported. Disclosing this in a public advisory, the Director General of the Center, Dr. Jide Idris, said the cases that occurred between January and June 11, 2024 were reported from 96 local government areas in 30 states. He stated that the 10 states that contributed 90% to the burden of cholera include Bayelsa, Zamfara, Abia, Cross River, Bauchi, Delta, Katsina, Imo, Nasarawa, and Lagos states. He urged Nigerians to be wary of the increasing trend of cholera cases across the country as the rainy season intensifies. Dr. Idris explained that cholera is a food and waterborne disease caused by the injection of the organism Vibrio cholera in contaminated water and food, adding that water is usually contaminated by the feces of infected individuals. He listed people at risk, including people of all ages living in places with limited access to clean water, among others. He explained that disease can be prevented by ensuring access to safe, potable drinking water, proper sanitation and waste disposal, and appropriate hygiene, including hand washing. Idris advised Nigerians to reduce the risk of cholera by ensuring that water is boiled and stored in a clean covered container before drinking, adding that people should practice good personal hand hygiene by washing their hands frequently with soap water under clean running water, ensuring that food is well cooked before consumption, avoiding open defecation, indiscriminate refuse dumping, ensuring proper disposal of waste and frequent clearing of sewage, among others. He urged health workers to always practice standard safety precautions such as wearing gloves while handling patients or providing care to an ill patient, relative intensifying surveillance efforts to promptly report suspected cholera cases. We now shift our attention to the House of Representatives Committee on Public Account that has said there was an alleged mismanagement and breach of financial regulations in the disbursement and utilization of 1.32 trillion naira COVID-19 fund. Submitting the report to the House, the committee also alleged that some government agencies and private organizations that benefited from the funds used the money for purposes it was not meant for. The report, which was submitted to the Parliament during Tuesday's plenary by committee chairman Bamidele Salam, PDP Oshun, said some private airlines used the COVID-19 for their personal operations. Salam said the report, which is the first volume, covered the period between 2020 and 2022. The committee chairman said 92 ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, were invited to appear during its sittings following a motion adopted by the House on October 17 last year, alleging mismanagement of COVID-19 intervention funds. The committee's report, which will be subject to lengthy perusal, alleged mismanagement, non-compliance and outright violation of procurement laws and financial regulations by various MDAs and private sector beneficiaries of the fund. Quoting records from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the report gave a breakdown of inflows amounting 1.32 trillion naira for the fund. Out of the total inflow, about $3.4 billion, which is 1.28 trillion naira, was said to have been donated by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, as grant, while the federal government intervention stood at 34.4 billion naira. Besides, it said the general donation amounted to 6.09 billion naira, while the China General Chamber of Commerce donated 48.12 million naira, with 70 million naira and 50 million naira coming from the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB) and Remita e-payment platform. The document revealed that officials from the Ministry of Water Resources, the Federal Ministry of Finance, university teaching hospitals, federal medical centers, specialized health institutions, the Rural Electrification Agency, among others, appeared before the committee during its investigation. We'll now take a break. When we come back, international news. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Life on Benue Television News at 9. We'll now move on to the international scene, where a second person has died in South Africa this week from the viral infection Mpox, what the health ministry says less than 24 hours after it announced the first death. Previously known as monkeypox, Mpox is a viral illness transmitted through close contact with infected humans or animals, as well as viral materials such as contaminated shits. In July 2022, the World Health Organization (WHO) declared a global health emergency, which lasted for 10 months. On Thursday, South Africa's government said the second person who died was a 38-year-old man. He was admitted to a hospital in the KwaZulu-Natal province with extensive lesions, headache, fatigue, oral ulcers, muscle pain, and sore throat. He tested positive for Mpox on Wednesday. The spokesperson for the National Health Department, Foster Mohale, said the second person died on the same day the results came out positive. The total number of laboratory confirmed Mpox cases stands at 6 in the country, with 2 deaths since the first case was recorded 5 weeks ago. On Wednesday, Health Minister Joe Faala had announced the first death and 4 more infections. The 6 cases were the first recorded in the country since 2022. According to the WHO, Mpox spreads through close physical contact, and most cases are mild, but it can kill. The disease causes painful and scarring lesions, principally to the face, anus, and genitals. Common symptoms include a skin rash, fever, headache, muscle aches, and swollen lymph nodes. Mpox was first discovered in humans in 1970 in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, with the spread since then mainly limited to certain West and Central African nations. More than 97,000 cases and 186 deaths were reported across 117 countries in the first 4 months of 2024, according to the WHO. Faala, the health minister, said that all those recently infected in South Africa were men in their 30s. Their cases were classified as severe. Meanwhile, leaders of the group of 7 G7 countries are meeting for a 3-day summit to discuss global affairs in the southern region of Puglia, Apulia. The event has been held on Thursday in Borgo Egnazia, a luxurious resort surrounded by olive trees in the style of a medieval village, very much loved by celebrities including pop star Madonna. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, the host of this year's summit, will be welcoming the heads of state of the 7 members: the United States, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, and the United Kingdom, as well as the chiefs of the European Council and European Commission. As the like-minded group tries to shake off its reputation of being a club just for the wealthy West, Italy has extended an invitation to more than 10 other countries for sideline discussions. These include UAE's Mohammed bin Zayed, Algeria's President Abdulmajid Tebboune, Jordan's King Abdullah II, and Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Notable absentees are Egypt and Saudi Arabia, who had been invited. The timing could not be better for Meloni, who will preside over the summit as Europe's rising star following her far-right party's victory at the recent European Parliament elections that saw a turn to the right across the continent. Africa and the Mediterranean, 2 key national security issues, will feature prominently in the summit. Meloni is expected to expand her flagship foreign policy, the so-called Mattei Plan. The project aims to position Italy as a major energy hub between Europe and the African continent in the hope of boosting growth in Africa and in turn curbing immigration to Europe. A final statement is expected on Saturday. Well, this is usually a document that indicates the direction the group's members intend to follow, crafting future policies while offering the rest of the world a window into their priorities. Well, that brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, we'll take a look at the top stories again. The headlines: we saw the selection exercise for design of Benue logo and coat of arms has commenced. We also saw that President Tinubu has honored heroes of Nigerian democracy. Now, the international in South Africa has reported second Mpox death. That was Benue Television News at 9. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Archin. Good morning.
you